All right, so hey, good afternoon, everybody. So the new artwork has continued to start arriving. So I guess we'll just get straight to rigging. Our new character today is called Eric, and he's in a suit. He's also behind a desk. So yeah, we'll get to practice doing the desk again. So first thing I'm gonna do is rename my face behavior to torso. And I used to always call that body, but I've started naming it torso since they added body behavior, just so I don't have two things named body if I'm going to use, say, motion library. I'm going to rename my dragger. Oops. I'm going to add a dragger. I'm going to add auto blink, and I'm going to add lim IK. All right, let's get rigging. So front I want tagged as front and also as a head. Head I want tagged as head, and I want to add face behavior. In that face behavior, head position strength is 0, head scale strength is 0, and parallax is 200. I've got my brows swap set, and I've made sure default is the top level because I want parallax applied to the top to the default brows, not the surprise brows like I did yesterday by accident. In brows, we're going to cycle our layers. And that's just, it was a big jump from default to the surprise brows, so we put an extra layer in there just so it looks a little bit better. Right eye, gonna tag that. And we don't have masks on this one again. Hopefully we won't need them. Nose, one thing I forgot to do on the puppet yesterday, but it always really helps your parallax, is to, if you've got bangs included in the nose set or glasses, to move that center point back down into the center of the nose. And inside nose, I've made these little wispies. I want them to dangle, so I'm going to make them independent. Move their origin and add a dangle point. I'm hoping it'll look okay. He has a side part, so those always look a little bit awkward when they turn their head with too much parallax, but we'll test it out with the usual settings and see how we go. Okay, so I think head is done, right? Just the brows. Surprised, I'm gonna add my trigger too. Mouth is already all done. Okay, so let's go on to rigging. Right arm, we're going to put our shoulder, let's zoom in a little bit, and our elbow. And then I'll go into forearm. And put my wrist and make it draggable. It doesn't look too different than the old way until you get artwork. Say if they've got pushed up sleeves and the undershirt is a different color, then that's when this new way of doing arms looks a lot better. You don't get any deforming on the at the elbow on the forearm. So I like doing it this new way. It's just a little bit harder to remember because it's a new habit. Make that draggable, and then likely, like yesterday, I'll probably have to move these a little bit. Okay, and we'll do left and right leg. And if I wanted these to move with the torso, I think all I would have to do is make sure that this connecting right hip is above the fixed line. Then I think we'd get movement with the torso, but we're not going to see his legs in the actual animation, I don't think. So I'm not going to worry too much about having the legs move at all. I'm just rigging them out of habit, and because we have lim-ik detecting or looking for these tags. Okay, and now we're ready to rig the desk. So on the parent layer, I want the origin point. Let's make this fit again. On the parent layer, I want the origin point below the fixed line. On the named layer, I want my fixed line approximately where I want it to not pivot, and I want my origin point above the fixed line. And then the desk layer, and I've got two versions of desks in some of them, so I'd make that a swap set. Like I believe David has desk with a notepad and without a notepad, so if that was the case, I'd just make that a swap set, but it's not in this one. So anyway, desk I've made independent, and I want it attached below the fixed line. Body, I'm going to put where I want that to pivot. Head, I'm going to attach where I want it to pivot. And then frontal, where I want it to pivot. All right, let's do our swap sets. And he's got full swap sets on both hands. We've got a little issue there, but I think it should, no, let's go fix that. So see how this, it's 05 and it opens into hands, and then this is actually 05 forearm. This one, it opens into default left. So let's go take a look at the artwork there. I think it's just a layering issue. Let's take out that empty layer. We don't want any of those. Hopefully this doesn't mess up our... There we go. Nice, I don't think it messed up anything. So now we'll go into default, we'll pull the first hands folder in and create the swap set, and then open all the other hands and add them to the swap set. What's going on here? So see how I've got default and default 2 in hands. Let's just delete that whole hand set and drop it in. So there's default and default 2. What is that about? Let's just take out default 2. And then I see, oh, I see, okay, the other thing that's happening is in hands folder, I've got default first, or in default hands folder, the default hand is first. In the 05 folder, hands point is first and default's at the bottom. Okay, well that doesn't matter too much. It's just a little bit more confusing when you're doing this part. Okay, so again, we'll pull in the default hands folder, and close it, and then all the rest we'll put in. So let's put in default first. And then all the rest will be in the right order. Yes, a fast forward button at this stage. Feel free to zoom ahead. It's not super exciting to watch, I'm certain, although maybe none of this video is super exciting to watch. Interesting if you're into character animator though, I think. Hopefully. Okay, and I'm also going to rename these right hands. And I'm going to make open gesture Z. We can do left arm. Yeah, and we've got the same issue there, so let's go back to the artwork. We'll go into left arm. And fix that, and then I think likely we'll have the same issue. Let's move default to the top so that it always defaults to the top. That'll just make life easier when we're tagging it. Or dropping it into the swap set, sorry, not tagging it. It's a good habit to put default at the top, then you don't have to select default in the swap set, it just automatically shows default at the top. Alright, so let's make sure that went through, yeah. Okay, so we'll pull that in and call it left hands. Okay, and left hands are done. So yeah, if I did everything, excuse me, if I did everything correctly, we are ready to pull Eric into a scene and see how he looks. Uh-oh, the floating desk, what did I do? Darn it. All right, so on the parent layer, I want my origin point below the fixed line. On my named level, I want my fixed line and my origin point above the fixed line. The desk, I want independent, and I want it attached below the fixed line. What is happening? Darn it. Okay, so then body, let's move above the fixed line. No. Frontal above the fixed line. Darn it. Come on. Did I forget to make that fixed? I did. Oh, I've made that mistake so many times. Sorry, everybody. Don't forget to make that fixed. Now I'll have to go back and readjust my pivot points, but darn, that is like, I've made that mistake more than once. So yes, parent layer, origin point below the fixed line, name level, fixed line, origin point above the fixed line, but please make sure that it is actually fixed. Okay, so let's go back in and adjust where we want him to pivot. Okay, and then torso, I'm going to turn down head tilt strength to about, let's say 25. I'm going to put head position strength to 0 and head scale strength to 0. There, now he moves much more correctly. And because I changed it in here and not in the rigging, don't forget to push puppet track behaviors, push to base source puppet. And then when you pull him in next time, he'll be done correctly. So let's zoom in and see how his hair and everything looks. I believe I forgot to parallax his ears. Yes, I did. So let's go back into rig. Oh, desk always gets me. So left ear and right ear are independent. We want to add face behavior to that and tag it as a head. Head position strength will make -150 because they're behind the head. Head scale strength and head tilt are going to be at 0. There, so that is Eric. His little wisps I think look alright. I'm wondering, do I want to move these or will it be too distracting? I do like that they turn, let's zoom in a little more. They turn with his nose. Did I remember to center his nose? Yeah, I did. So that's Eric. So except for the excitement with the desk, and I can see I've got a little issue. This happens occasionally. Stuff doesn't line up exactly correctly. And I've got a little bit of a line here. I think that's from the artwork. Let's go check the artwork and just see. So that is collar. I wonder why there's that little line. Let's go enter isolation mode and let's just delete. Oops, that's not going to work. You know what, I'll talk to the artist about that. I'm not certain why that little white line is appearing, but I'm pretty certain it's because the collar isn't lined up exactly correctly. But we can fix that later. The main thing is that the puppet worked and I got the desk to stay still like I wanted to. So Eric's got, let's see, these default hands. Let's turn off everything except triggers, because I can see what are these folded hands? Where are they? Default. we'll see how it works. Let's just rig as normal. I'm getting myself all sidetracked here. Okay, so triggers are armed, so I should be able to, yeah, you know what? I didn't look at the artwork carefully enough, and I'm wondering where these double hands are coming from, because they are blocking. Is there an invisible layer? No, there isn't. Frontal. Okay, so they are on right forearms. Oh, that's clever. So it's default hands. Okay, let's make sure none of those are invisible. And let's set, see, that's what I didn't do. Let's set that as L for left hands. Okay. So now when I go L, let's turn on triggers again. That's the other reason stuff isn't showing. Okay, so we may have to move a little bit of the artwork. There we go. Works as expected. That's cool. So yeah, I should have looked at the artwork more carefully. So the default hand, his default right hand actually has both of these hands in it. But that was a great solution. The other thing I realized I forgot to do, actually, let's go into his body and go left arm, right arm, hinge. And then when we turn everything on, oh, okay, so I may have to, if I put it on hinge, you can see his default hand. So I think on right, let's actually see if that works. So we'll go to right hand and just take off the default. No, I mean left hand. Oh, left and right, you get me in Character Animator. There, so now when he moves, you don't see it. So that works as expected. I'll just have to get rid of this little white line in the artwork. So let's turn off triggers and turn on, let's just turn everything off. Turn on right and left hand. So I'll have to move my draggers again, but again, he works as expected. Nice, so that is Eric. Except for the little mishap with the desk. Don't forget to make your fixed line fixed. It was a fairly straightforward rig. I don't know if we want to test. We've got Eric's lip sync here. We can do a quick lip sync pass. Oh, it's been a while since I've done done any animating either. I hope my sound levels aren't too loud, but it's always nice to see him talk with his own voice. I believe this is Eric's interview. Oh, it's a long sound file. All right, hopefully it's not too loud.
We implemented a system that let us process twice the work. And as a result of our efforts, the fund doubled in size in the first 2 years.
Wow.
Okay, so that looks really good. One thing I'm noticing is that his lip sync didn't put in his jaw movement. So on head, let's go to face base and we'll zoom in. It's already made independent. So we'll put in our fixed line. Don't forget to make your fixed line fixed. Put in the one underneath and call that jaw. And now let's listen to it again.
In size in the first 2 years.
Wow. That's exactly the kind of environment.
Why is his jaw not working now? Oh, because I put it on left ear. Go on to face base. I think I'm a little bit tired today. I'm making really silly mistakes. Fixed. Make that jaw. Now let's see how our levels are.
In size in the first 2 years.
Wow.
Okay, so that's a bit big. Let's turn his lip sync jaw movement down a little bit and try again.
We implemented a system that let us process twice the work. And as a result of our efforts, the fund doubled in size.
Good, that looks good. So you can see I said yesterday parallax always goes onto the default. It doesn't go onto the default, it goes onto the top. So the first eyebrows that it detects gets the parallax. So make sure you have your default eyebrows at the top. So I've got my surprised eyebrows set as 1. So if I move it to 1, you can see they don't have parallax anymore, which is too bad. I've got them named and tagged as brows. But yeah, they don't apply parallax anymore. So same with the smile. I haven't figured out a workaround to get the smile on the timeline without making it a swap set. But then suddenly you smile and it's quite jarring that there's no parallax. So the surprised ones you show less than the default. So we've just had to make do. But it's a thing I wish was different. If anyone from Character Animators listening, fix that. Anyway, I guess that's it for rigging and stuff today. Yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything that you'd like to see how we do differently, or if there's a tutorial that I can do. I'm good at learning how to troubleshoot desks online anyway. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Bye.